Do they have another creature? We will never know. So the thing about this though is it ends the turn, so Heartfire Hero actually does no damage here. Isn't that cool? What a cool board wipe. Today we are committing crimes. We are playing blue-white control, a deck archetype that I do not play that often on this channel. I typically play Jeskai when I do play control as of late, but this deck has some banger cards in it, and I am very excited to play them. One being Elspeth Stormslayer. I'm not a big fan of the Jace win con, so getting to play this as my win con does make me happy. I also do enjoy the River Regent, but Elspeth is one of our main win cons, so we will talk about it if you haven't necessarily played against it very much. If a token were to be made, we make twice that, so it's a doubling season effect type of thing. And it has +1, create a 1/1 soldier creature token, 0, give all our creatures flying and give them a 1/1 counter, so it helps close out the game very quickly. And then -3, destroy target creature and opponent controls mana value 3 or greater. That is a mode that we will be using quite often in today's video, so getting to use the entire slate of Elspeth's ability is pretty awesome. But the card that I get to play in our blue-white control deck that is super sick and actually deals with a lot more than it seems like it would in comparison to a lot of other cards. So Ultima is our new board wipe that we got from Final Fantasy. 5 mana, 2 white, and 3 colorless. So why would we play this over Day of Judgment? 1, destroys all artifacts in addition to creatures in the turn. The end of turn we'll get to in just a second, as it kind of comes up more and more often throughout the video. But 1, if you go against Synthesizer, a very hard deck to compete against. If they get 1 down, you can't really deal with it. Blows up all those. And the artifact of question is Corey Steelcutter. So against the kind of Is It Prowess deck, we can also blow up all their creatures, all their extra tokens they made, and get rid of the Corey Steelcutter so they can't just immediately refill the battlefield. And then, of course, you know, blowing up all creatures is great. In the turn, why is that relevant? 1, it takes Heartfire Hero's death trigger and it does not hit you. So if this is used on a Heartfire Hero and say it's a 7 whatever, because we know with Monstrous Rage it can get there. Say it has 7 power. Typically, if you cast a board wipe that's not Sunfall, you're going to get hit for 7, but this immediately resolves and it ends the turn instantly as this card resolves. So the Heartfire Hero trigger doesn't ever hit you, and it kind of exiles it without exiling it. Another thing, this also doesn't allow an unstoppable slasher to return to the battlefield, because the slasher goes to the graveyard and then triggers, so this will have already ended the turn. The slasher will stay gone. Also, with these sacrifice decks like Sephiroth and the kind of all the creatures with all the death triggers and things like that, or anything that has a death trigger on it, Ultima is going to remove it, or even leaves the battlefield. Ultima is going to remove it from the battlefield. They're all going to attempt to trigger, but before they even can, the turn will have ended and it'll go straight to their upkeep. So it was a very cool board wipe. We're talking about it quite a bit. Just wanted to point out a lot of the good effects this card can provide us. But outside of that, counter spells. 3 steps ahead for 3 to counter anything and maybe copy a creature, especially a card like Flanker if need be. No More Lies to use early. 1 copy of Negate, because this is a very nice card to use when it is good. Oftentimes can be bad against the aggro deck, so you do have to be careful with how many of these you play. 4 Get Lost, 1 Soul Partition, 1 High Noon, a couple of bullets to use throughout our games. 2 Temporary Lockdowns kind of fit in there, but obviously we know how good this is. So we're playing obviously more than 1. And then we have the Flanker for our Omniscience matchups. We have Stock Up for 4 to find any of these cards. 3 Visa to gain life and make some extra tokens. 2 Rides In to exile those Heartfire Heroes when they are attacking us with Double Strike and all that nonsense. And 3 Regents, because I love this card. We get to draw 3, then discard a card, or play it and then bounce a lot of stuff. And this card is a very good card if we get into the late game to have available to counter a spell and then make a copy of this. Just removing all the threats out of our way and also stopping our opponent from removing this, most likely, allowing us to close out the game instantly. So with all that said and done, we're going to dive right into the games. I hope you all enjoy them, and let's go play. All right, well, we got play against pretty much every deck, it seems, so we'll keep. I say pretty much because, like, we can exile the graveyard against Omniscience. We can exile an attacking Heartfire Hero. We can reset our hand a bit or gain some life if need be. And we can start off with a Surveil land that turns everything on. I will even keep a High Noon just in case, because then that gives us play against blue-red. And I mean, I'm just tap here. I'm just slapping in. I'm just slapping in a High Noon, dude. Here he is. We're enjoying the game together, I assume. Against Ultima something, maybe Graveyard Plan. Could just demo field them as well. Maybe basics aren't in their forte. The 3-color decks do struggle a bit to play basics. Here, we'll take out their blue. Or at least isolate their blue. Don't know what our opponent's actually on, obviously, but we'll hopefully find out. Or is this a strip mine? We never know. Does not seem that way. Do have a blue. Okay. So do we. He lost this. Great. We play here. We just pass. Probably just go for like a flanker or something here. Put a threat in against our opponent. Force them to kind of interact with us a bit. So our Biza can kind of slip through. They're on a max kind of hand size right now. Be like a squirming emergence deck, which is really why I don't want to jam this flanker, but I do think playing this in scrying too, and then just having it attack them every chance it can. Gain 2 scry 2. Do the pause here. It seems like there is some amount of interaction. Potentially. Probably don't need right now. Then my turn. I can't cast another spell, so not a whole lot I can do. Sure. I don't have the black mana here. Play Biza. Draw a card, replace it. 3 steps is pretty sweet. That'll allow us to copy something if we want. Create a token this copy of target artifact or creature. We can technically copy a Biza, but not really ever looking to do that. Gain 3 life off that. We don't really care. We can just attack into it. Our attack's a bit better than their attack anytime, so of course we'll keep this going. Remember, again, if they cast a spell, they don't get to do anything with it for the rest of the turn. Draw 2 and discard 1. Again, now their turn is effectively over. Get rid of that plains. We have a no more lies, so if they try to interact with this on our upkeep, we can interact with them back. Surveil ain't good, but let's just play the land that can actually attack my opponent. Here is 4. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm countering that, that's for sure. Countering that for sure. I have a creature land too. Go ahead. We'll just ride send this card on their end step. They play another one. Sure. Bit weird of a play here, but let's go ahead. Wait. They lost this on their end step. Oh, stock up so good though. Man. Let's surveil. If the card on top we want is there. Bring this up. No cut down. No, thankfully. That hits well. Activate here. Yep. Yes, sir. I will keep correct. Seems like a good one. Oh, nice. They can invest all this if they want, even if they remove our Biza. It's kind of whatever, right? We're gonna ride in whatever we need to. Hits. There's that. They leave it. Okay. We're actually gonna exile this Restless Cottage, which is interesting. Or yeah. We much rather take their land away, right? It just shuts off something like this getting to come back and do some shenanigan stuff. And then we can also just go ahead and do... We can just go ahead and remove this, right? And we can just attack for 4. Set them to 8, and hopefully Elspeth lives, but if she doesn't, then she doesn't, and there's just not a whole lot we can do about it. And they go for that, sure. They crack the food, so they're just basically telling us ahead of time they have nothing, which is fine, you know, sometimes you gotta do that. So here I can put a counter on things, so let's do it like this. Put 1 counter on a creature, they all gain flying. And then let's attack for like a majority of their life total here. No block, okay. Feeling the need to take care of Elspeth, I totally get that. Let's cast the 1 card we have available. Rides in, and I guess another stock up would do. And then we'll just say go. Keep the rides in to exile the creature here. There's a river regent, sure. Or scavenger regent. Actually, no, I think I'm going to protect it regardless. We don't know what this last card is, and they already cast this spell, so I don't have to do anything. Right, and the regent still dies to our stuff, so it doesn't really matter. Here. And we have the counter spell available, so it just doesn't matter at the end of time. But yeah, sweet. We come away with a win in kind of a control-y mirror type matchup where we're just blue-white. They're Sultai, the Dragon deck, which is pretty awesome. I actually love this deck a lot that they're playing, but unfortunately for them, we just got ahead a little bit, and the High Noon caused a little bit of problems where they couldn't necessarily cast their spells super efficiently. But also having a lot of copies of these instead of maybe your stronger cards like this also kind of sucks. But yeah, we take it. Very cool. Well, for pretty much the same reason as we said last game, we have play against what seems like every deck with this hand. Hold up counterspell if we need it. Play a High Noon against the Izzet deck. Who would have thought? We could try to exile something, but like counter something, but Spell Pierce is a card that they could play, so we're gonna get this High Noon down. And now we need to find a card like Biza or maybe a Temp Lock down once they've kind of set some stuff down. Because High Noon's just gonna be such a brutal card. What do we get from our opponent here? A Slick Shot? I mean, that's pretty good. Why just High Noon alone is not good enough. He's a flanker maybe. That's probably stock up. No More Lies being a little bit of trouble. Maybe I am just supposed to hold up No More Lies, hit this, and really High Noon whenever we feel like it's necessary. Stock up's 5 damage here. Quarry Steel, obviously not going to do anything all that impressive right now. Ultima's actually incredible here, so now we just need to live. So I'm going to play Biza. Biza will make up multiple tokens, gain us some life. Won't necessarily draw a card. But Ultima, destroy all artifacts and creatures in the turn, which is okay with us for the most part, obviously. This is their one spell this turn. But they can literally do nothing else. They can hit us for 3, and then we should be able to take the game over. Maybe they're realizing what the pawns. They can attach the Quarry Steel Cutter, which is what they should do. Yeah, that makes sense. Down to 12. There's a Surveil land. Okay, so Ultima's available. Get Lost is pretty solid. So I think I just keep it, maybe? Actually don't know. I'd probably just keep it. Go ahead. I really wish I may have grabbed this other Biza because it would be really nice to refill the board after this turn. You have multiple counter spells, so they could technically pay for our stuff, right? So we'll just pop it with this. They can pay for this, and they know that. That's why they played the way they did. Now they got nothing else. We'll fully reset them by casting Ultima, which is one of the reasons I didn't really want to leave the Get Lost, but I felt like I needed to. could have Spell Pierce here. Maybe I just play it a bit differently because they could have Spell Pierce, right? Yeah, it's a tough day. And this is to sack a token to draw a card. So we can get lost this Slick Shot. Because most likely they'll always cast a spell here. Sure. Spells casting is done. I'm not worried about getting rid of that. I am worried about a Spell Pierce. We really hope they put that on Slick Shot so they waste the mana this turn. Very awesome for us. I mean, they're going to get to use the token regardless. Oh. They're going to get to use the token here regardless of what way I want to do it. I'm not taking the hit from the Slick Shot. There's just no way. Let us sacrifice a token and draw a card. Alright. Stock up some counterspell, some stuff. Cool, boy. Let's do this. Let's cast here. Do the pause. Definitely could be the Spell Pierce we were talking about. Now, temporary lockdown might be the answer, but I think it's actually Biza and Elspeth here. Just because I feel as though they have that Spell Pierce queued up and ready to go. Now, there could be a Monstrous Rage that comes in from our opponent. But they should cast Monstrous Rage first so they can pay around this instead of equip, target, and then try to attack and then Monstrous Rage. Because then I get to block everything and then end up, you know, countering the Monstrous Rage, right? So if they want to equip for Trample, I guess Monstrous Rage gives Trample. I guess it depends if they're playing the Vivi version or not. Or resolve all that. So nothing else can really be played here. They could, again, equip the Quarry Steel, do that whole play. And then they have some game actions to take from there, if they would like. Ultima almost feels like it's about time to be played. Although Elspeth coming in and making a ton of tokens also just seems fantastic, right? I will double block if I have to here. Yeah. There's just zero chance I'm ever letting all that come through. Unfortunately, we maybe made... Well, I guess I have to leave the finish, right? Because I wouldn't be able to trade it off. How did you do your damage? Hello? I feel like I'm so far ahead now that I don't even want to touch the Quarry Steels. It just doesn't matter. I'm playing Biza, gaining life, and then doing that. The number of lives are pretty much dead at this point. And it can counter Elspeth. So I guess it's attack with Biza. It could also, by any stretch, blow up the whatever. Do I just Ultima maybe? Because what do I do in a situation in which they just Flood Maul, bounce my high noon? I'm going to go for this. If they Spell Pierce it, they Spell Pierce it. But if this is Flood Maul, we're going to be really upset about that. But it also ends the turn. So now they have to bounce it now instead of later. Ultima, an interesting card, exiling itself and ending the turn immediately. It's a cool one, that's for sure. But unfortunately, like I said, I don't really have the extra mana there. They can buy back what Opt here. Maybe they're going to go for fully leveling this up, which obviously a Get Lost could do a lot of good stuff against that. Do I go Elspeth or Biza? Elspeth or Biza? I'm going to play Elspeth, I think. Then I'll have my Get Lost available as well. Plus, making dudes. The army begins now. You leave my Elspeth alone. An op cash, sure. I can't interact. Alright, opponent. I personally feel like they should just upgrade the enchantment and force me to have to remove it. Which I do have the card to do it. And that would cost all their mana. To play around Spell Pierce or to not play around Spell Pierce is like the most interesting kind of dynamic that I have going on. I just don't know. Stock up, their turn is now over. I could try to interact with this, and it would shut their mana off for the turn, but it's just, I'd rather get lost something here, I think. Maybe get lost this one, or this one, where they haven't quite got the chance to upgrade it. High Noon kind of coming in as a punishment, almost. Sure. I'll take my free removal here. I was just say, I'll take my free removal. You're perfectly fine and content with waiting. Don't want them to be able to upgrade that all the way, because that just seems like a bad thing for us. They have more lands than us. 4, 5, 6, 7. 4, 5, 6. Unfortunately, they do not. Start with a Planeswalker Plus. Start with a Biza Jam. And now we actually have a true counterspell too, which is nice. Biza. Life gained, card drawn. Games to win. The world may never know. The opt on my end step with 4 mana open just feels like the saddest thing. But both of us at 37, 36 cards. What a game. Both of us seeing equally the same amount. Both of us kind of playing around a High Noon. Obviously, it's way better for us than them. And that just takes their entire turn. So, sure. I mean, obviously, they have Storm Chasers upgrade. They could have upgraded it and maybe waited, but they're trying to find interaction on our turn, I would imagine. So you grab back, probably stock up, right? I don't know what other card would be good enough. An opt to go on my end step, sure. Most likely, I'm not doing anything on this turn. I'm just going to normalize the opt, I guess. Just get value out of them because I can't use them at any other time. We're in. Then we're just looking to make a token off our Fountain Port and then zeroing Elspeth, I guess. But maybe I don't use this because what, 1, 2, and 3? Yeah, we don't counter this. But it requires 3 mana to make the fish, and then that would make 2 fish, and then we can zero here, and then for sure find lethal because there's obviously ways that they could kill a creature, could bounce a Biza, so on and so forth. Sure. Or do that, right, where they like make creatures. So here when I have the mana, we just normalize that. Of course, they'll make their 1/1. But this token doesn't matter because our creatures get flying. And then I have the counter spell for them interacting with me on my upkeep. It won't be able to stop my Elspeth from doing what we want. And doing all these videos in a row, I can tell my voice is dying. It's just talking for like pretty much hours at a time. 0, 1, 1, all flying. Everything's going to get there. And then we have obviously all the counter magic to get the job done. But Control, weirdly enough, one of those videos, like from the recording standpoint, is kind of easier just because, you know, I'm not letting nothing resolve, dude. Not in my elo. Nothing resolves. But, Control is one of those weird games or decks to record because I like putting like 5 or 6 games out. But the matches last 11, 12, 10, 20 minutes, you know? It's just all this weird time, so kind of hard. But we move on. There's a lot of 2 mana cards, and then every card will be available on turn 3. So it just feels like the easy keep, but who knows? Obviously, Mice would probably be the hardest match right now. Who said that? Temp Lockdown, we miss you so much. Please come help. Let's just level this up, probably, and that's what they're going to do. Pretty good play. Don't give me any more value. Don't let me establish anything. Here we go. Screaming Nemesis. Really Odd Parents. What to do, what to do. It makes it cost, what, 2 more to cast? Let's just do that. It's essentially removing it, and then I don't give them tokens to use next turn. It's a weird one. Fountain Port's interesting. Demo Field's also interesting. I have double blue, so I guess I can just play the demo field. Pass. We're going to have to find a Biza to essentially get out of this game, it seems. They could. The thing is, if I don't counter this, they could always burst lightning it. Then I can never gain life again. Negate is a dead card for the most part in this match. At least should be. Ultima is a card in the match. Double white is needed for double get lost. Go. Oh yeah, play the 5th land and play your Screaming Nemesis, dude. A thing that we would never have to worry about in a million years. Here. I don't want to take double ping damage here. I much rather them like try to do some stuff on the second main. Do we let this happen? Ah, man, I don't know. I guess maybe we just stop the second one. Of course. Sure. Why not? I'm just going to pop this. All right, 3 steps ahead is good. Here. We can get rid of the Screaming Nemesis. Hopefully. I don't know. That was only the 3rd one they found. Never know with them, you know. Blue, blue, white, white. It doesn't really matter, I guess. So we'll grab the planes. And we'll say go. Do they have like a lightning strike or a burst lightning or something? Counter. Interesting time, Mr. Lockdown. Interesting time, that's for sure. More mana. Here, maybe? How much mana they have is insane to me. Oh, that's pretty good. Stock up. These are huge here. No More Lies might actually be a massive pickup if they kick a burst lightning. We'll see. That's what I'm gambling on right now. But this also makes sense. Maybe I should have done that. Yeah, maybe I should have grabbed to get lost. Now that they had that. That's a big mistake by me. Sure. Oh. Sure. Ultima is going to be interesting. Okay. Do they have another creature? We will never know. So the thing about this though is it ends the turn, so Heartfire Hero actually does no damage here. Isn't that cool? What a cool board wipe. Hopefully they have no creature and this monster trait sucks. They're trying to learn why this didn't do anything. But it didn't do anything because Ultima ends the turn instantly. So, oh, let's go. They got us everything we needed. And now we play a Biza and we gain the life. The journey starts now. And they give up. Oh my lord. The Ultima coming in absolutely clutch. Helping us crawl out of a game where Screaming Nemesis was almost guaranteed to make us never gain any more life. As we saw the burst lightning and hitting plat 1 with blue-eye control. Very cool. My opponent goes first. We have removal. We have a counter spell. We have a pretty strong kind of card that takes over the game. So, I mean, we'll keep. May have 1 fewer of the 3 cards in my hand. It'd be either get lost or 3 steps ahead. Well, I don't know. Mono black typically can't answer planeswalkers, which is weird. But they get rid of the get lost. We find one immediately because we're nuts. I guess. The discard bug, you know? Oh, deep cavern bat, sure. Negate's pretty solid for this unholy annex that they're going to jam on this turn. One of, by the way. Holy annex. Oh, he called it! Oh, I'm an idiot. All right, go ahead. You want to play a second one? Please, bro. We have a get lost for it, I guess. Maybe I should have let it resolve and get lost it. Well, no, I don't have a lot of value with negate outside of that, right? Like Bloodletter, maybe this is the card I get lost. Am I? Play here. Alright, don't need more mana. This, I am sure of. More mana, more bad. A lot of problems. But not to be fun. What do we got now for me, boss? What? The short-term creature your opponent controls with mana value through greater? Sure. We'll see. Are you playing a second Bloodletter or are you passing? Are we passing? I mean, you know 2 of my cards in hand, so it's not like the spell you cast is going to guarantee resolve, right? So, this one. We could have a Shieldred's Edict here and we lose our Elspeth. Happens. Happens to the best of them. I know they can't interact with it before I make my 2 tokens. I know that much. Actually, I guess it's only 1 token if they kill my Elspeth in response here, which is quite funny. 5 mana, make a 1/1. Nowhere to run to pick off one of them. Sure. That makes sense. Nowhere to run. It's not really going to get any other value in this matchup outside of that. But I'm tapped out and they know I have 3 steps ahead, so it's definitely the best option. Ooh, go for the throat there. It just seemed maybe like we're conceding the game. Sure. I just go for the throat on a 1/1 just seems criminal to me. Sure. We have 1 or 2 options. I can just I mean there's not really an option to be had. Let's just get rid of that. We just go here. They got rid of go for the throat, right? They did. I just don't think I need to play this. I want to play it just because I think playing this card is the coolest card to play, but I also think playing it is just a mistake and I don't need to do that. Because then we would have lost to that, huh? Boom, boom. Don't need our temporary lockdown, so Liliana we want rid of. Now, to be fair, our Regent would be cool against Liliana to an extent, because they can't really do anything. And there goes that, so... temporary lockdown. Again, we don't need it. Stock up's pretty sweet. I guess I just want to play this, because if it lives this turn, then great. Not going to give them their nowhere to run back. There's just no reason to. You find removal. They duress me. They take my stock up. It gives them a chance. I mean, it has to be stock up. This isn't a... There's not a choice here. Yeah. Alrighty. Up and at 'em. Attack. So, activate here. Do here. Sure. Play this land. There's a reason we're playing that land. You may or may not see it. Keep Caverbat, sure. So the reason we play that land, if you are curious, if they do a Shieldred's Edict and they want to make me sacrifice a creature, I'm going to reanimate this again, and then I would sacrifice it over my 6/7. Now it just doesn't matter. Lust. Combat. Here. The same rule still applies though. If I didn't have the 1/1s, because technically this card can pay into itself. Because this isn't a tap ability, obviously, because then that wouldn't work as a creature. So we can tap this for mana and bring it up if we wanted to. Because they can do sacrifice a non-token creature with the edict. But we just have way too much going on. This game is by far over. They attack and it's, yeah. Yeah, there's just nothing they can do. Alright, everyone. Here we are with the deck of the future, if you would. I'm just kidding. We are here with blue-white, a deck that has struggled a bit, and we've kind of stuck with Jeskai and been kind of riding that deck for quite a while, which I do think I'm going to go back to because I kind of enjoy Jeskai a bit more just from a play pattern perspective. I like having lightning helixes. I like having the Jeskai dragon. That's super cool. And I just think, to me especially, I find Jeskai a bit more fun because it's a little bit more tap out heavy and it's like a different type of control. But here, Ultima's awesome. This card is sick. The amount of random things that this card does, like this is what Sunfall should be, right? Sunfall is annoying because it exiles everything and then they get a lot of value and it makes a token and then triggers Caretaker's Talent. This card kind of does the same thing, but with actually, like, to some extent, a drawback, actually, but not a drawback in other aspects. But the drawback being, well, if I had other stuff I wanted to do that turn, for example, they have 9 mana. I know that's a lot of mana. I can't Ultima and then play a Biza after. I can't Ultima and then play a Flanker. Obviously, Flanker's on their turn, but if I want to play an Ultima and then plus up an Elspeth to make tokens, I literally cannot do that. So this card has reasonable drawback. But the upside of slashers don't come back, Heartfire heroes don't deal damage, anything that would return or cause a triggered ability when they die, for example, just doesn't happen. Like Sephiroth, if that card, if they could have 4 million creatures in play, we cast this, we blow them all up, and then the turn ends, and then we take no damage. But for them, on the other side, like if I'm the other player, I don't necessarily feel as bad. Like Sunfall just always felt so bad because of the fact that it exiled. Like for them, they're like, dang, they blew up my board, but I am a reanimator, like Raise the Past deck, for example. I can still bring it all back, you know, like it just doesn't feel like my archetype's just being hated out of the game. And then also the backup of being like, hey, your Quarry Steel Cutters, pop them. Like I don't want to see them anymore. And the Sunfall never gets those, right? Like Sunfall's really bad against Quarry Steel Cutter. This is actually pretty good against it because you wipe the board and then they can't just immediately refill. They have to find a new one. And then obviously if we go against blue-white artifact deck, like the synthesizer deck, this card is just fantastic at dealing with that deck as well. We don't necessarily need to splash the red for Brotherhood in. But this deck was solid, man. It felt pretty good. I'm a little worried about it, a little scared, because when blue-white's really good in the format, it feels pretty awful to play against whenever you... It's okay to play against it every now and then. But to play blue-white and then go into the mirror doesn't necessarily feel that great. And then whenever you kind of have to play it back-to-back-to-back games, it doesn't necessarily feel that great, especially because of how many cards they splash. So you never know truly what version they're on. For example, if like you play against me, I don't have a Jace. You play against someone else, they could be playing 4. You have no idea, and that's what makes it hard. Whereas like aggro decks, if they switch creatures, it doesn't really matter. The only one that matters is if they're playing Screaming Nemesis or not. And realistically, that also doesn't matter either because you have to remove the creature regardless, right? Whereas, like, do I care about this Biza? Because if I remove it, do they slam a Jace and then I can't deal with that, you know, with the Shieldred's Edict, for example? So it just finds out. I don't know. It's just weird. But either way, deck was sweet. Ultima's awesome. I actually love this card. I think it's a very good card and it's pretty well written in the way it works. It feels really, really balanced. So at the end of the day, that's pretty cool. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.